Hi, I'm Ian Girling from Dorset Chamber, and a really warm welcome to the latest episode of Business Insights with Dorset Chamber. And today I'm with Hannah from PRF Composites, a fantastic firm based in Poole. Hi, Hannah, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you, Ian.
Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself and your role within PRF Composites?
Sure. So I'm Hannah Khusainova. I'm the marketing director here at PRF. And I've been here now for a whole decade.
Wow.
So since 2012.
Okay.
The family business. So I've actually been around this business since it first started. So yes, a good 40 years ago now. I'm not 40, the business is, but yes.
You don't look 40. Hannah, tell me about, what does PRF Composites actually do?
So we manufacture and supply a range of advanced composite materials for high performance applications in advanced engineering. Lots of technical terms in there. So we work with technical textiles, also called reinforcements. They are most commonly things like glass fiber, carbon fiber is what we tend to use most. But you also get speciality materials as well. And we work with resin systems, mostly epoxy. And then in composites, you put the reinforcement with the resin system, cure it, and make a composite part. So something along the lines of this, something that's hard, but very, very light.
Okay.
So we don't make parts, we make the material for constructors to make the parts. We supply dry reinforcement, we supply epoxy, but what we are specializing in is manufacturing a product called pre-preg, which is the reinforcement impregnated with the resin, and that kind of sticky product, that's what gets rolled up and goes to the customer.
Okay, it's quite technical.
It's very, very technical. We're working at the forefront of advanced engineering, which is an incredibly exciting place to work, and something that the UK is a superb industry in the UK as well.
Yeah, we've got some incredible engineering and manufacturing businesses here in Dorset as well that are that are really world leaders, and I know that you're a particular leader within your industry. Hannah, lots of people watching this film won't be terribly technical, a bit like me, possibly. What sort of applications are the composite being used for? What are we actually, the material you're making, what is it actually helping build?
So you will find composites in a really diverse range of industries. We've got some behind me, you can see. Formula One is a very obvious one. Lots of people are very comfortable with the idea of composites, carbon materials in Formula One cars. Marine is a long established user of composite materials. Defense, in aircraft, but there are also some industries that people wouldn't necessarily automatically think that engineered materials go into. So medical, there's a lot of composite applications in medical, mammograph plates, prosthesis, orthotics, and we're now seeing more composite parts going into production vehicles, and renewable energy. So with this move to lighter, and also with the contribution to renewable energy, it's really key industry for reducing carbon.
So your home is in Poole, and all the production takes place in Poole?
Yes.
All the manufacturing?
Yeah, we have 4 manufacturing sites, and they're all in Poole. We've been based in Bournemouth and Poole across our entire 40 years.
Okay. 40 years is a long time. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the business? I think your dad started the business, didn't he?
Yes. So my mum and dad started the business in 1982. It was really, it's grown from there. We're still an independent family-run business. He's recently moved into the role of CEO, and we have a new MD taking us forward. But we're still very much, whilst we've grown and we've got the 4 sites, it's still a very close-knit team. and we are still growing. And because of the way that the company has developed and is organised, we continue to invest.
So I came out to see you a few weeks ago, which was a really interesting visit, and I met you and I met Dave and also your dad, and it was quite clear to me it's still very traditional, and those values as a family business did seem really important to you within the business. I could really sense that meeting you sat in your boardroom.
Yeah, the one of the key things for my dad, but also for Dave and the business running forward, has always been and will always be integrity. Integrity is a huge part of central value of how we work within the team, how we work with customers, how we expect suppliers to work with us, and how we work with suppliers. It is all founded on being honest. We can't be open as much as other industries. There's lots and lots of secretive things in composites, lots of things that are confidential. But being honest and having honest business relationships is really important.
I think that's becoming increasingly more important particularly as we kind of look at the ESG, environmental, social, and governance kind of agenda. Those values businesses have are really important, and people will look for that in terms of doing business with you. But also, you talked about recruitment there. Business, potential staff are really looking to see those values in businesses that they're almost choosing to work from in what at the moment is kind of a fairly employment market.
Yes, yeah, and we try to support our staff as much as we can. Not only in terms of their everyday role here, but also socially as much as we can as well. I've watched my parents support people through immigration and all kinds of things. So if you're contributing to the company, then we want to support you in doing that, and that's been key.
So you place significant value on looking after your staff, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's get a feel for the kind of size and scale of the business. How many staff are we talking about in the business, and how are you structured?
At the moment, we're I believe we're between 40 and 50. That fluctuates slightly based on manufacturing runs and requirements. We have the 4 manufacturing sites. This site in Fleetsbridge is kind of head office, where we do our main pre-preg production, where we have our labs and our product development. We have kit cutting site, and we have a site that is based on warehousing, sales admin, and that's where the sales team are based out as well.
And having the 4 locations, you still manage to run the business collectively as one pretty well.
We do, yes, we do. We, in fact, post-pandemic, it's been actually quite useful getting this routine of video conferencing, because it makes a lot of sense to just to get a meeting pulled together quickly rather than having to bring people and move people between sites. We found that actually Teams and Zoom and the like have been really useful in that.
We've all learned to adapt very quickly, and I was thinking, really, I don't know why we weren't using this technology really before. I mean, lots of businesses were, certainly we weren't, and with my stakeholders and partners that the chamber works with, business was always done face to face, and this technology isn't new, is it? But we just accepted that was the way we do things. So I personally think online meetings, they don't work for everything, but are really helpful and a really good way of businesses kind of keeping in touch and like you say, organising things very easily.
Yes, absolutely.
You touched on the pandemic there. I mean, when I came out to see you, you were telling me about how you'd kept all your staff on during COVID, in particular during the worst of the pandemic. Tell me about how you kind of managed through that as a business.
Well, so for some of our customers, we are an integral part of their manufacturing, And when they decided that they weren't going to shut, that they were going to work through the pandemic, but with safeguards in place, then it became a question. Well, it wasn't really a question. We either carried on manufacturing or we, potentially closed the door. So we very, very quickly risk assessed, put in place mitigating factors. So having the 4 sites, we locked down each site.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No movement between sites. We bundled manufacturing teams so that they would have lunch together rather than all trickling in, and going out at different times. So manufacturing teams were bubbled, social distancing was put in place, sanitizers were put everywhere, masks were brought in, and we restricted visitors. And we locked down the sales team, and they did not like us for doing that. Sales people like to get out and visit.
They do. They do.
Yeah, we locked them down mainly for their safety, but also knowing that in the industry there were customers of ours that were furloughing people, there were customers of ours that weren't sure if they were going to make it through, and you don't need a salesperson coming and knocking at your door at that point, really. It was important to come back to base, and it actually allowed us to really think about some of our processes, to have an inward, a more introspective look at ourselves to see actually where do we need more resource, what can we do to fix this process that's a bit clunky, and to do a bit of housekeeping that gets forgotten about in day to day when everybody's running around and making sales. So we every announcement that came out of the Department of Health, we analysed and we put new procedures in place, and really key was every time we did that, we sent a bulletin out to all the staff.
Okay.
This is new.
Yeah.
And the things that we need you to keep remembering. And they did such a good job. They were so responsible. They took care of themselves. They took care of each other. And we got through 2020 without a single case.
That's amazing.
So really, really proud of them.
I was going to say, I'm sure you probably saw kind of something of the Dunkirk spirit, if you like, where we were going through a tremendous time, and it was so important to look after our staff, wasn't it? And lots of people had, they had real concerns about going to work and going out, and and anxiety over COVID. So I think you managed. It sounds like you did everything you possibly could, and it sounds like that really worked for you.
We had some shielders. We had some, as in people who were medically required to shield. We had some people who were having issues with childcare, and we did our best to support them throughout it. So it was a tricky time. Our industry is, like everybody else's, is still pulling out of it. But we, as I say, we're so proud of the way they came through the big lockdowns and the pre-vaccination rates when people were getting very, very poorly. Our main goal was always their health and safety. And then that has a direct impact on the safety and the continuity of the business. So those were the priorities, and they all understood it, and everybody, like you say, worked together to get through it.
And it sounds like you had some really kind of rapid logistical kind of management decisions to make to keep operating, but still operating within those bubbles and keeping staff separate and all those sorts of things.
Yes, there were days where I think all we did was read risk assessments and try and work out the next stage of implementation. So when we started accepting visitors back on site, then we had all the safeguarding of what those visitors needed to checklist off and all those kinds of things. So at every stage when we changed, when we made a new procedure, I read early on that the communication is key, and it seems that our little COVID bulletins really helped.
Yeah, I think that communication was really important, and it was a confusing at times, understanding what was required and so forth. And often we felt, that employers were given very little time in terms of government made changes, and there'd be very little notice for employers in terms of how to prepare for that and what does that mean. And as a chamber, we did our best to try and help the community, but a difficult time. So, but Hannah, we're through that. It really does feel like we're kind of looking forward, and there seems to be, I know we've got challenges in the economy at the moment with price increases, but I think, we can all start to look forward a bit now. What does the kind of future look like for PRF Composites?
I'm going to be really corny and say, right, no, we have a heavy product development program for this year, which is really exciting. Although our first major exhibition of the year has been postponed, it takes place in Paris, and it was due to take place in March, and it's now been postponed until May. But after May, things look like they should be clearer for the industry coming together in exhibitions, for a more kind of upward trajectory of normal business activity. And as I say, product development, we're all about innovation and technical excellence. So we're always looking to see where we can improve our own products, where we can improve what the market is offering and what our customers need. So very exciting times, probably more growth. That we seem to we get comfortable with what Robert has put in place, and then we expand some more. So yes, there's probably more growth on the horizon somewhere. Perhaps not 2020, but probably 2022, but probably in the shorter term. And certainly some more recruitment.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at that probably from around now onwards.
I know you're interested in apprenticeships as well, aren't you?
And then yes, absolutely. Then there's the developing some apprenticeships, getting some young people who see their future in advanced engineering.
Yeah.
And there's this fantastic company on the doorstep that you can really grow into a career with. And it's a global career. We export all around the world, including China. So it's a very exciting industry to be part of, and there are so many opportunities.
Yeah, I think quite often, we do talk about this quite often, particularly with apprenticeship programs. Sometimes parents don't understand industries, and we might think of engineering and manufacturing as still kind of, I don't know, dirty kind of hot places to work, and actually it couldn't be different, more different from reality. And environments like yours are very, very high tech, on the cutting edge of technology, and offering young people particularly absolutely fantastic careers ahead of them. So I think we should always be showcasing companies like PRF Composites, not just to young people, but to to parents, as well as fabulous businesses that are really, as I say, working on the high end of kind of technology and innovation. So,
and I think there's a real chance to contribute to the future in an industry like ours. We work with renewable energy, we work with medical applications, and the contribution that advanced engineering makes to people at an individual level, but also globally, is so significant that I think if you care about the world and you care about reducing carbon, and you're kind of sustainability minded, then actually advanced engineering makes a lot of sense as an industry to work in, because this is where we can make the impact.
Yeah. Hannah, it's been really interesting talking to you today. If people are watching this film and they'd like to speak to you maybe about careers within your business, or understand a little bit more about what PRF do, what's the best way to get hold of you? So
our email is inquiries@prfcomposites.com. Website, prfcomposites.com. We also have a LinkedIn company page. So if you
Okay.
press on LinkedIn and hit follow, then you'll get lots of lovely updates about exhibitions where students may see us. We go to
Okay.
advanced engineering in the autumn, in November, and a lot of university students attend that. So we have a big stand there, and there's going to be lots of activity this year, being the 40th year.
Of course, yeah. Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thanks ever so much for your time, and we wish you well.
Thank you very much, Ian.